congratulations on the album.
Thank you.
Worthwhile. I mean, it's been, what, 2 years since this album, since the last one, but worthwhile, this one. You must be so happy. The whole band must be so happy with this album.
Well, I'm happy.
Yeah?
Can't speak for them.
With this album, when I say it's so different from the rest, it is so adventurous, I find, you know, in the sounds, the melodies, the lyrics. It's a very adventurous album for anyone, including the Smashing Pumpkins.
We really, really tried to make this one a lot different from everything else. It was meant to be a quiet sort of return to your acoustic roots, possibly, you know. That didn't work out, so we ended up sort of doing the album by trial and error and process of elimination. And there are about 6 different versions of every song.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so this is what you end up with, and that's what worked. We just wanted it to be, you know, one cohesive thing. There are other versions of other songs that are better. There are other songs that are maybe better, but they didn't fit in with the whole thing. So we just wanted it to be an album. We're more of an album-oriented band.
The drumming side of it, I mean, like, there's some live drumming, there's some sort of like sample drumming. When you're putting down something in the studios, where do you start from? I mean, for instance, the title track. Where do you start? Does it start in the middle, at the end, or where? I mean, I'm
all of the
fascinated.
above.
All
of the above. I have no idea. You know, there's so many different versions of that song. We started out, I think, with some drums from Matt Walker, and then we processed them, and then processed them. We tried all acoustic things and electronic things, and the hard thing with the drumming was, you know, using 3 different drummers and a lot of drum machines. We were really concerned about making the drums be all similar throughout the album, so that you're hard pressed to tell which are real drums and which are not real drums, but you want it to be all kind of in the same vein of everything. So
I think that's why I find that fascinating, because with this album where you can't distinguish between which is what anymore, you know, and it works so well. Whereas, I mean, like when I look back at whether it was true or not of the very start of the Smashing Pumpkins, more or less sort of saying you'll get a record deal if you get a human drummer, you know. Well, I mean, there's a bit of everything in this, you know. With the vocals, when you put down an album like this and the different tracks, I mean, is there a lot of trial and error by that? I mean, for instance, if there's 5 different versions of one song, are the vocals very much different?
I think the vocals are really different. Billy was really concerned about bringing that to a new level. There are a lot more harmonies also, although they're more used in a subtle way. I call it harmonies for dogs, because only dogs can really hear them. But it adds something. You can hear it sort of unconsciously, subconsciously. But we really tried to do, we made a conscious effort to do a lot more with the vocals this time, definitely.
When Billy's, for instance, writing songs, does he play them to you as he's writing them, or do you get them in one slab? Here's 5 songs I've written. I mean, how do you hear the songs?
You never know. You know, we write songs. There are hundreds of different ways that we write songs. Sometimes he brings in a finished song. Sometimes James brings in a finished song. Sometimes it's a bit of a line and we jam it out together.
Right.
Sometimes something just comes out of jamming out together. This album, for the most part, was songs that he had sort of worked out quietly in his bedroom.
Right.
There are just thousands of different ways that you can write a song.
Sure.
Billy won't even speak about the lyrics anymore, but
I don't think
this is the first. This is really the first album that was written more of him looking outside of himself. There are a lot of songs that are stories, literal stories, like the song Dusty and Pete. That's one of my favorites.
Great.
And I really wish he would explain the lyrics to that, because it's just heart-wrenching. It's a beautiful story, you know. But this is really the first album that's like that. The other albums are more him expounding on things that he's learned about firsthand, but speaking to everyone, because they're things that almost everyone can relate to universally.
Going back from the 4 albums, from the 4 studio albums, what are some of your personal favourite songs that you like performing?
Like performing?
On stage? Or even like listening to?
I like Ava Adore, Daphne Descends, Dusty and Pete, To Sheila, Apples and Oranges. I could go on. I love this album. It's different. It's
what about
different
from the
for
other
me.
albums? The other albums of songs?
I love the other albums, and they're really, especially Gish is really close to my heart, but it's hard to listen to. It's hard to get over the traumas that we dealt with at the time, and usually it takes me 3 years to be able to go back and listen to an album. But this one, after the mix, right away, I want to listen to it all the time. It's not a matter of better or worse. It's just some different thing. It's just sort of addictive, I suppose.
Going back to the times of when you recorded Gish, what were your own personal hopes of what the Smashing Pumpkins could be? The dreams. If you must have had dreams back then.
Well, it's different. You become successful, and it's not ever what you expect it to be. You don't have any idea of the business side of it. You don't have any idea of the thousands of interviews that you're going to have to do.
I have every idea that you have to do.
Well, now you do. You do. But we didn't, you know. I was, 19 years old or something, and you have no clue.
Yeah.
I mean, I got into a rock band because it's what I always wanted to do.
Right.
Music was my first love from when I was, my family was musical, and I always thought that I would do this. But music, in the end, it seems like the smallest part. When you become successful, it seems like the smallest part of what you end up doing. It's a business, and you end up taking care of all of the business aspects of it and the promotional aspects of it. And the music, it seems like it's the least important thing in other people's minds, and there are just so many hours in the day. There's just not enough time, really. So the shows lately have been sort of like, gravy, icing on the cake. On
videos, I mean, there's some fantastic videos that have come out of
Thank you.
Out of the Smashing Pumpkins. Again, is it a collective ideas of all the 3 of you, or what?
You never know. It depends. It's sort of like,
Because that's another ball game, and you do it so well.
It's another ball game, but not really. We're very, we're so into every aspect of our band. We're into the business side of it, and we're into the visual side of it. Our photographs, everything is so important to us, and I mean, obviously the most important thing to us are the albums, but it's this much more than everything else.
Sure.
I mean, visually, we like to look at videos as another art medium, and if you can do something fantastic, why not?
Which you have.
Why not do the best that you can do, and try and do something amazing. I mean, sometimes the ideas come from Billy or the band. Like, there's an instance with the Tonight video, which is probably my favorite video. And the idea came from Jonathan and Valerie, the directors, which is really funny because we were going to do a different video, which we found out about 2 days before we were going to do the shooting that the Chili Peppers had done it.
Oh, really?
they took our idea. No, they didn't actually hear about it, but it was a coincidence. And so they very quickly came up with this idea and threw everything together, and it turned out to be the the best video we ever did. So you just never know.
The tour has been pretty grueling, right? I mean, you've really put yourself through.
It's been a lot of hard work, but this has been probably the most fun tour we've ever done. It's really fast-paced. You don't have time to sit around in your hotel room and go, oh, woe is me. No, this is really hard, and I'm far from home. But the shows that we've been doing have been completely different from anything else that we've ever done. It's different in Australia. We're playing big venues here, but in Europe we've been playing, the Guggenheim Museum in Spain, and Tivoli Gardens in Copenhagen, and all kinds of...
Tivoli Gardens is a great place.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah, that is cool.
Fantastic. And trying to do different venues, places that aren't even venues, and freshen things up. And, we figure if it gets old for us, and we're just on tour, how about the fans who are going to see shows like every week at the same venues over and over and over again? It's been so much fun. The shows have been the best shows that we've ever played. I mean, just the most fun for us ever.
After this grueling tour, I can't believe, if it's true, and you just said, I think you hinted towards it before, that you're going to go back in the studios. That's unheard of. Or, well,
not really. I mean, the thing is if you look at business, music is turned into a business now, and we're trying so hard to get away from that. The business thing, you put out an album, you give it like so many months of lead time for promo, then you tour on it, and if it's successful, you tour on it for 14 months, and then when are you supposed to be writing? You'll end up putting out an album every 2 years. And the Beatles used to put out a record, like they'd record an album in 12 hours.
I know, I was at one of their sessions.
It's crazy. So we're trying to get back to that, get back to what's important to us, which is the music. So therefore, hence this intense world tour. We weren't going to tour at all on this record. We were not going to tour at all. We were just going to put it out quietly and just move on and write the new record. But we thought that the songs were really good and they deserved to be heard and they deserved to be promoted, so here we are.
Well, certainly hope you enjoyed that interview with D'arcy from Smashing Pumpkins, and as everyone says, I mean, she is just so beautiful. In fact, one of my friends who lives up in Sydney would say, is she lavish? And she certainly is lavish. And of course the album Adore is just one of the best albums around. Okay, it's nearly time for me to go. Can't go until we finish with this song. It's number